what is the experience of having a roommate like? My best friend ended up going to the same college as me, so we ended up rooming together and it worked out really well. We're both very similar people, so in terms of living together, it just worked out well. We ended up spending a little too much time together. We get under each other's skin sometimes, so we had to learn about, taking space for ourselves and whatnot. And then when COVID happened, I ended up living off campus with some other friends, a group of friends, and I hated it, absolutely hated it. I learned that about people who just don't live the same way as I do, I guess, and we didn't really get along and things like that, so I ended up leaving that as soon as I possibly could. And then once my college opened back up from COVID, then I went back and I got a room by myself, which ended up working out. In terms of picking a roommate, my school had this thing where it was kind of like you set up almost like a dating profile about yourself and the way that you live and the things you like to do and your study habits, your going out habits and things like that. And you kind of get matched up with a person that way, and then you can talk to them and kind of figure out if they're going to be a good fit for you.
My freshman year had a remote semester for the fall, but then we had a remote semester, but you could live on campus. And I don't know why I decided that was a great idea, but it definitely wasn't, because I absolutely hated it. Nothing was happening on campus. I didn't really know my roommates that well. It wasn't a great fit. And so then my sophomore year, I decided, well, it's go big or go home, and I lived with 19 other women in STEM, which actually was a lot of fun because we had similar interests, but I would not have done that for more than just a year because it got chaotic. And then we all had our close friends from that program. And then my senior year, because I did college in 3, I had like a solidified group of people that I knew I lived well with. Sharing a room for the first time, you really understand like boundaries really well, and I think college is a great way to develop those sort of things, especially living with people that have different lifestyles than you. I lived with somebody from Iowa, and that was such a big difference. So just making sure that you can like recognize your boundaries, have really good communication with your roommate, you should be okay for the most part.
I was definitely very, very lucky where my roommate actually became my best friend. And I was literally hanging out with him in New York like for New Year's. I met him at it was called the World of Possibilities, so it was like a pre-college meetup for potential students. And yeah, I mean, I would say the fact that we were really similar was very important, and we got really close. We both joined acapella groups together. We did a whole bunch of open mics and different things. We made beats and music. So I would say you have to find someone that's really close to you if you can, or similar to you. Other thing is sleep habits. If you are a morning person, don't room with a nighttime person. Will cause We were both lucky that we both were night owls, but don't do that to yourself. So I will say that.
Yeah. My school did something similar to what Miss Wing's school did, which was this sort of dating profile thing. But the idea was in our first year, we were supposed to be able to choose roommates. So I talked to a bunch of people over this kind of housing portal website, and a couple of them I sort of accidentally became friends with later, which was funny, but it basically gave you like this person answered 83% of the questions the way you did to sort of avoid the morning-night problem and things like that. So I had someone that I got along with really well, and I'm still friends with, but something happened with our housing portals, and I got randomly assigned someone. And it kind of worked out well, because I think, I mean, living with someone very much like you is good to an extent, and sometimes it can be, sometimes it's a little, if they're a little too much like you, it can cause some problems. And if you're too good, if your friendship is a little too close, it can also cause problems. Because being with someone all the time is a lot. So I did a lot of things with my roommate for the first year, and then my second year, I had the option to actually choose my own roommate, and one of the choices was with sort of an acquaintance and somebody that I had played games with and stuff, and then the other was one of my best friends, and we sort of mutually decided that if we room together, we're never gonna sleep. Like, we're gonna just be staying up all night watching Netflix and things like that, and it's just not gonna work, and we're gonna get sick of each other. So sometimes having the person who's a little bit further from you can be good in a roommate situation. But also, I have really enjoyed this year. I've become friends with my suite mates because my school has little mini hallways with 4 or 5 people, and just knowing the people you live with and being able to like find them in the dining hall and say, hey, can I sit with you, is really nice. Just having friends and having acquaintances who live near you is good in college.
I went into college with the notion of thinking my roommate was going to become my best friend. We were going to do everything together because my oldest brother, that's happened to him. And I had a complete opposite situation. I had a roommate who was a CS major, and all he wanted to do all day is play video games. And I was like, I do not want to do that. So my freshman year was pretty terrible because I kind of had to figure out things for my own. I didn't have anyone to bounce off of. And then obviously, in a way, COVID was a blessing because I went home and I didn't have to be with him. And then the next year, I started to figure out things for myself. I lived by myself with my dog, and I actually found my college best friend in a chemistry class. And then I started doing things like volunteering at a sheep center and volunteering at different opportunities. And that's how I kind of found my friends. So don't really rely on your roommate being your friends. And that's kind of what I went into, kind of try to find your other opportunities and go from there.
It was the same thing. Like, it was on Facebook. They created a page. Everybody makes their profile. But I really wanted a roommate that had the same culture as me, because I'm half Brazilian, so I also wanted somebody that was going to be Brazilian too, just to make sure that I didn't forget about my culture back home. Of course, very important to me and my roommate, we're actually really similar, but I was a night owl, she was a morning person. It kind of helped though, because she woke me up so I didn't miss my classes. So that definitely helped. But having a roommate is actually really fun. Of course, it's really important to make sure you guys set your boundaries and you know what you like, what you don't like. You guys will also make a lot of good memories. A little quick story, me and my roommate, we bought a chinchilla, and we weren't supposed to have an animal in our dorm. But our RA, she loved us because like, we had the party dorm, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I always played music and everybody would come in. And it's also really important to like leave your door open once you first get there, because everybody can kind of, you know, drop in and say hi, see who you are. But our chinchilla, whenever our RA would come in, I would blast the music and my roommate would like talk to her, and the chinchilla's like underneath the bed. But basically, like, you'll have a lot of fun and just like, you know, be open.
So I got really lucky my freshman year. My roommate and I ended up becoming best friends, and we actually still live together. I'm a junior now. But through other roommates I've had from internships or other places I've lived, I just got back from Europe, and 4 out of my 5 roommates only spoke French. I do not speak that good at French, so the most important part was just to be respectful of each other's space and to be sweet. I don't know why it's speaking so much. Just to be nice. They don't have to be your best friend, but as long as you can get along with them and you communicate very well, so if something's bothering you, you say it right away and it doesn't snowball, you'll be able to live with that person even though they're not your favorite. And if they become your best friend, that's great, but if they don't worry about it. There are plenty of other people who would love to be friends with you.